I'm John. I've made a series breaking down the Knicks roster position by position. We'll get into each of these players, talk about their background, how they fit on the team, and what their individual goals will be like for this season. Anyways, let's get into the video. Let's get started with those centers. So first, Mitchell Robinson. He's 24 years old, 7 feet tall, 240 pounds. Last season, he averaged 26 minutes, scoring a super efficient 8.5 points. That's all those dunks. Rebounded the ball well, and played some really solid defense too. That's what he does. He's a second-round pick turned defensive monster, and he plays a super specific role for this Knicks team. He dunks, plays defense, offensive rebounds, and then dunks it again. But he is kind of limited from outside, doesn't shoot threes ever. The free throw percentage is pretty bad. But that said, last season was his best year so far. He hasn't had like huge improvements since even entering the league, but every year they give him a little bit more workload, and he maintains his efficiency, so that's a good sign too. Looking forward, I think he's sort of capped out in his role here. It's very limited. He could work on his endurance and get his minutes up higher to like 30. He could work on that post offensive bag. If you watch these highlights, he's literally just dunking it. He's not doing anything too crazy. And maybe in the future he can work on playmaking. That's a whole new path for growth for him. Be a post playmaker. He can see over the defense really easily. Those long arms, no one's going to take it from him if he puts his hands above his head. But anyways, in this last offseason, he got a 4-year contract from the Knicks. Starts at $17 million, then works its way down, 15.5, 14, 13. And I like how they did this deal here. He's getting his money, he's getting a lot up front. And this way the Knicks, they're not looking to be super good this year. But then later on in this contract, he'll be cheaper. And this will make him a really great trade asset later on too. Or the Knicks can just build around this guy a lot more easily. When in this 4th season from now, he's only making 13 mil compared to 17 next year. Our next player up here, Jericho Sims. So he's 23 years old, 6'10", 245 pounds. He played in half of the Knicks games last year, averaged 13 minutes, 41% from the free throw line. That's pretty gross. 4 rebounds, 2 points. So he got some play last year because the Knicks were just hot trash, no other way to put it. But he doesn't really play much offense. Those 2.2 points are pretty much just dunks. He does rebound okay, but the free throw shooting is just disgusting. 41% from the free throw line. That doesn't bode well either for future shooting too. Like, you don't want to see this guy take threes. You don't want to see him take mid-range shots. But luckily he's got that athleticism to score at the rim. So in the future, like, maybe you want to shoot at some point in your life. So you first got to get the free throw percentage up to at least like 60% if you want to start thinking about that. Luckily for this guy, he just signed a 3-year deal with the Knicks, 2 years guaranteed. The actual size of the contract is not very big. He's making less than $2 million a year, but at least he'll be in the league for some time. We'll get some good opportunities. Short term though, like looking into this next season, it's going to be all about playing hard defense, smart defense, if he wants to give the coach a reason to play him, if the Knicks are any good. So our last player here, Isaiah Hartenstein. He's 24 years old, another 7-footer, 250 pounds. Last season for the Clippers, he played 18 minutes a game, averaged around 8 points. Ludicrous 62% from the floor, and that's not just dunking it like our previous 2 guys with those crazy high field goal percentages. He does dunk it, but he can do a little bit more too. I see him hitting floaters a lot. He's doing post moves, backing people down. And he actually makes quite well too. He was getting 2.4 assists per game and a 2.0 assist to turnover ratio. Now, for a guard, that's not that great, but for a big man, 2 is actually quite solid. So last season, like I mentioned, played for the LA Clippers, and that was the most games he's played in a season before. He scored efficiently, he made well for a big, and solid defense as well, blocking the ball, stealing the ball. So, he definitely has a lot of potential. The big questions are, though, can he keep up with starters? If he has more minutes and more responsibility, is that going to impact his efficiency, which is really good right now? And, looking even further into the future too, is there anything there from the 3-point line? Last season, he hit 47% of his threes, albeit on not shooting any threes a game, very low numbers, but is that something he can hit maybe 1 a game, 1 every 2 games? That'd be awesome. And, will his play be worse on a worse team like the Knicks? The Clippers are a pretty solid team, so if you come to the Knicks and everyone sucks, does your efficiency get worse? Anyways, he definitely will have some time to prove himself. He's got 2 more years signed with the Knicks, $8 million per year, so that's pretty sweet, making $16 million. So he'll have time to prove himself. So all in all for these centers here, better playmaking is going to help all these guys. Hopefully quickly can take a leap this year. He did last
D-Rose is going to be healthy for this season. He's one of the better playmakers on the team. And I really think Brunson has a chance to improve his playmaking. That could be a big reason he comes here. Back in Dallas, it was the Luka show, and he was more just finishing plays. But he wants to come here for a bigger role, so maybe Brunson's playmaking's better too. That can help all these big men get more points, do more in the offense, and be more efficient. All these deals here, they're 2 or more years, so they'll all have time to prove themselves. They're all young and defensive-minded, so I think these sort of similarities between the players is going to help them relate to each other and push each other to really improve on offense, because they could all use a little bit of offensive work. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this Knicks breakdown series. We'll see what happens next. Leave a comment on whichever team you'd like to see. Take care. Peace.